Chapter 6104, Recognize Your Own Identity. Sha Mo saw that Yun Chujo didn't say anything and thought that she didn't dare to argue with him, so he continued, "Don't blame me for not reminding you. In our place, a hybrid demon born from the union of humans and demons like you has the lowest status. Even if one of your parents is a sky demon, a hybrid demon like you doesn't have much status. Therefore, from now on, you will listen to my arrangements. Otherwise, not to mention getting close to the Sky Demon clan, you might be sold as a slave. Although your appearance after the disguise is not good and your figure is shriveled, some poor demons are not picky." Sha Mo was spitting when he felt a sharp pain in his spiritual sense. He could not help but scream. Yun Chujo looked at him and said indifferently, "Recognize your own identity. I am the master and you are the servant. If you continue to talk nonsense, I will kill you. Aren't you afraid that I won't help you get close to the heavenly demon clan? Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to learn the supreme demon scripture and turn into a demon?" Sha Mo said furiously. Yun Chujo curled her lips. "There's something I forgot to tell you. The corpse chi in my body has long been dissolved by other methods, so you are of no use to me. I can kill you at any time." "Impossible. Other than the supreme demonic code, there's no way to dissolve the corpse chi." "You must be lying to me." Sha Mo roared in disbelief. Yun Chujo shrugged her shoulders. "Think what you want. However, if you make me unhappy again, I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death." After saying this, Yun Chujo walked towards the imperial city. Sha Mo was skeptical. He felt that Yun Chujo was most likely lying to him, but he still felt some fear in his heart. He took 2 steps forward and caught up to Yun Chujo. "Little girl, even if the corpse chi in your body has already dissipated, you are unfamiliar with the demon continent. You still have to rely on me. If you want to find Shui Wuji and your lover, you definitely can't do it without connections. How about this, you follow me back to the Esche family. I'm their ancestor. They will definitely treat me with respect. When the time comes, I'll arrange for someone to help you find them." Yun Chujo was not a fool. What was Sha Mo's plan? It was nothing more than to force her to break the contract with the demon god. However, what he said made sense. She was not familiar with the demon continent. Furthermore, the moment she came out of the teleportation channel, she realized that her cultivation base had decreased by quite a bit. It would not be bad if she could borrow the Sha family's power. Hence, she nodded. "That's fine. However, are you sure that they are all my descendants? If they don't acknowledge me, I will punish them," Sha Mo said confidently. Yun Chujo sized him up. "Don't blame me for pouring cold water on you. Your cultivation level is so low now, and you haven't come back for 10,000 years. Your descendants might not acknowledge you." Sha Mo snorted coldly. "Although our demon race isn't as hypocritical as you humans, we still have some basic filial piety. Just follow me." Yun Chujo saw that Sha Mo said so confidently, so she didn't say anything and followed him to the imperial city. Although there were guards in the imperial city, they did not check their identities. It was just that the way they looked at Yun Chujo was a little strange. Yun Chujo thought that they were acting this way because of her so-called identity as a mixed devil, but she did not take it to heart. After entering the imperial city, Sha Mo sighed with emotion. It was nothing more than the passing of time and the change of people. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6104, Recognize Your Own Identity. Sha Mo saw that Yun Chujo didn't say anything and thought that she didn't dare to argue with him, so he continued, "Don't blame me for not reminding you. In our place, a hybrid demon born from the union of humans and demons like you has the lowest status. Even if one of your parents is a sky demon, a hybrid demon like you doesn't have much status. Therefore, from now on, you will listen to my arrangements. Otherwise, Not to mention getting close to the Sky Demon clan, you might be sold as a slave. Although your appearance after the disguise is not good and your figure is shriveled, some poor demons are not picky. Sha Mo was spitting when he felt a sharp pain in his spiritual sense. He could not help but scream. Yun Chujo looked at him and said indifferently, "Recognize your own identity. I am the master and you are the servant. If you continue to talk nonsense, I will kill you. Aren't you afraid that I won't help you get close to the heavenly demon clan? Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to learn the supreme demon scripture and turn into a demon?" Sha Mo said furiously. Yun Chujo curled her lips. "There's something I forgot to tell you. The corpse chi in my body has long been dissolved by other methods, so you are of no use to me. I can kill you at any time." "Impossible. Other than the supreme demonic code, there's no way to dissolve the corpse chi." "You must be lying to me." Sha Mo roared in disbelief. Yun Chujo shrugged her shoulders. "Think what you want. However, if you make me unhappy again, I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death." After saying this, Yun Chujo walked towards the imperial city. Sha Mo was skeptical. He felt that Yun Chujo was most likely lying to him, but he still felt some fear in his heart. He took 2 steps forward and caught up to Yun Chujo. "Little girl, even if the corpse chi in your body has already dissipated, you are unfamiliar with the demon continent. You still have to rely on me. If you want to find Xue Wuji and your lover, you definitely can't do it without connections. How about this, you follow me back to the Esche family. I'm their ancestor. They will definitely treat me with respect. When the time comes, I'll arrange for someone to help you find them." Yun Chujo was not a fool. What was Sha Mo's plan? It was nothing more than to force her to break the contract with the demon god. However, what he said made sense. She was not familiar with the demon continent. Furthermore, the moment she came out of the teleportation channel, she realized that her cultivation base had decreased by quite a bit. It would not be bad if she could borrow the Sha family's power. Hence, she nodded. "That's fine. However, are you sure that the Sha family will acknowledge? They are all my descendants. If they don't acknowledge me, I will punish them," Sha Mo said confidently. Yun Chujo sized him up. "Don't blame me for pouring cold water on you. Your cultivation level is so low now, and you haven't come back for 10,000 years. Your descendants might not acknowledge you." Sha Mo snorted coldly. "Although our demon race isn't as hypocritical as you humans, we still have some basic filial piety. Just follow me." Yun Chujo saw that Sha Mo said so confidently, so she didn't say anything and followed him to the imperial city. Although there were guards in the imperial city, they did not check their identities. It was just that the way they looked at Yun Chujo was a little strange. Yun Chujo thought that they were acting this way because of her so-called identity as a mixed devil, but she did not take it to heart. After entering the imperial city, Sha Mo sighed with emotion. It was nothing more than the passing of time and the change of people. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6106 Sha Mo had never thought that his family identification trip would end like this. Was he going to die like this? In a moment of panic, he remembered that he had a master. Immediately, he didn't care about his dignity anymore. He hurriedly used his spiritual sense to ask for help. "Master, help. Quickly save me." Yun Chujo was so smart. She had already run far away when Sha Mo went to the Sha mansion to court death. It wasn't that she was suspicious, but it was better to be careful. It was her first time in the demon continent, so it was better to be careful. Although she was far away, she still saw Sha Mo being carried away by the guard like a little chick. She thought for a while and decided to save Sha Mo after all. She wasn't familiar with this place. Although Sha Mo was a little stupid, at least he knew more about the demon race. Therefore, She went through another alley. The guard had his back to Yun Chujiu and was about to attack Sha Mo. Yun Chujiu took out a rolling pin and hit the back of his head. The guard never expected that someone would sneak attack him. He was hit hard and fell to the ground. Sha Mo was about to speak when Yun Chujiu put him into the spirit beast bag and ran out of the alley. Sha Mo was crying and cursing inside the spirit beast bag, "These unfilial sons of mine don't recognize me. These dog servants who look down on others want to kill me. This is outrageous." Yun Chujiu ran out of the alley for a few streets in one breath. When she saw that there was no movement behind her, she heaved a sigh of relief. Hearing Sha Mo's cursing, she said unhappily, "All right, don't you know what it means to have someone leave? Moreover, you are so weak now. Even if they know that you are the real Sha Mo Yi, they will not acknowledge you. Who would acknowledge a good-for-nothing ancestor and go back?" Sha Mo. Sha Mo gritted his teeth and said, "We will go to see the Demon Emperor. His Majesty will definitely make the decision for me. Even if I have to sacrifice my children and grandchildren, I will still take care of these ingrates." Yun Chujiu did not say a word. She thought to herself, there was no devil emperor. She was the one who lied to him, all right? However, she should not provoke him now. It would be bad if he really went crazy from the stimulation. Just as Yun Chujiu was thinking about it, a sharp and harsh voice came from behind her. "Miss Jiu, can you think about us servants? If you have nothing to do, go out and run around. We have been looking for you for a few days, but we did not expect you to hide here in peace." Yun Chujiu was shocked when she heard the name, Miss Jiu. It couldn't be, right? There was someone who knew her in the demon continent. Was she that famous? Although she had killed a few demons, she couldn't prove it. It didn't make sense for someone in the demon race to know her. Besides, she had already changed her appearance. How could she recognize her? However, she knew that she must have mistaken her for someone else. She turned around and saw a fierce-looking old woman walking toward her with an unfriendly expression. There were two maids following behind the old woman, and their expressions were not good. "Well, you must have mistaken me for someone else, right?" Yun Chujiu said. The old woman immediately said angrily, "Miss Jiu, do you think we are blind? Hurry and go back with us, or else the old madam will blame us, and we will be punished together with you." "I really don't, Chuyue, Dongxue, please return to the residence, Miss Jiu." The old woman did not listen to Yun Chujiu's explanation at all, and directly let the two maids carry Yun Chujiu forward on her left and right. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6106. Sha Mo had never thought that his family identification trip would end like this. Was he going to die like this? In a moment of panic, he remembered that he had a master. Immediately, he didn't care about his dignity anymore. He hurriedly used his spiritual sense to ask for help. "Master, help. Quickly save me." Yun Chujiu was so smart. She had already run far away when Sha Mo went to the Sha mansion to court death. It wasn't that she was suspicious, but it was better to be careful. It was her first time in the demon continent, so it was better to be careful. Although she was far away, she still saw Sha Mo being carried away by the guard like a little chick. She thought for a while and decided to save Sha Mo after all. She wasn't familiar with this place. Although Sha Mo was a little stupid, at least he knew more about the demon race. Therefore, she went through another alley. The guard had his back to Yun Chujiu and was about to attack Sha Mo. Yun Chujiu took out a rolling pin and hit the back of his head. The guard never expected that someone would sneak attack him. He was hit hard and fell to the ground. Sha Mo was about to speak when Yun Chujiu put him into the spirit beast bag and ran out of the alley. Sha Mo was crying and cursing inside the spirit beast bag, "These unfilial sons of mine don't recognize me. These dog servants who look down on others want to kill me. This is outrageous." Yun Chujiu ran out of the alley for a few streets in one breath. When she saw that there was no movement behind her, she heaved a sigh of relief. Hearing Sha Mo's cursing, she said unhappily, "All right, don't you know what it means to have someone leave? Moreover, you are so weak now. Even if they know that you are the real Sha Mo Yi, they will not acknowledge you. Who would acknowledge a good-for-nothing ancestor and go back?" Sha Mo. Sha Mo gritted his teeth and said, "We will go to see the Demon Emperor. His Majesty will definitely make the decision for me. Even if I have to sacrifice my children and grandchildren, I will still take care of these ingrates." Yun Chuzhou did not say a word. She thought to herself, there was no devil emperor. She was the one who lied to him, all right? However, she should not provoke him now. It would be bad if he really went crazy from the stimulation. Just as Yun Chuzhou was thinking about it, a sharp and harsh voice came from behind her. "Miss Jiu, can you think about us servants? If you have nothing to do, go out and run around. We have been looking for you for a few days, but we did not expect you to hide here in peace." Yun Chuzhou was shocked when she heard the name, Miss Jiu. It couldn't be, right? There was someone who knew her in the demon continent. Was she that famous? Although she had killed a few demons, she couldn't prove it. It didn't make sense for someone in the demon race to know her. Besides, she had already changed her appearance. How could she recognize her? However, she knew that she must have mistaken her for someone else. She turned around and saw a fierce-looking old woman walking toward her with an unfriendly expression. There were two maids following behind the old woman, and their expressions were not good. "Well, you must have mistaken me for someone else, right?" Yun Chuzhou said. The old woman immediately said angrily, "Miss Jiu, do you think we are blind? Hurry and go back with us, or else the old madam will blame us, and we will be punished together with you." "I really don't, Chiyue, Dongxue, please return to the residence, Miss Jiu." The old woman did not listen to Yun Chuzhou's explanation at all, and directly let the two maids carry Yun Chuzhou forward on her left and right. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6108, Luxury. Before Yun Chuzhou could brush Sha Mo off, she heard Qing Mama grumble, "Miss Jiu, what are you waiting for? Go in and apologize to the old madam. We have been unlucky enough to follow a master like you for 8 lifetimes. There are no benefits for us. It's common for us to be punished." Qing Mama winked at the two handmaidens. Qiu Yu and Dong Shui immediately carried He Xinjiu to the side door. He Xinjiu felt a little complicated. She had not enjoyed the benefits of being an imposter, but she had to take the blame for someone else. After entering the Tian residence, Yun Chuzhou was blinded by the grandeur and luxury inside. Although she did not know what was good for her, she could not resist the Sha Mo inside the spirit beast bag. The gatehouse is actually built with gold and heavy wood. It's really a waste of money. It's already good enough for an ordinary demon to have a piece of furniture made of gold and heavy wood. The rock of this rockery is actually Mirage Cloud Stone. What a waste. This Mirage Cloud Stone is a good thing to make an ink stone, but it's actually used to make a rockery. The flower bed over there is planted with golden peony. Such a good herb is actually used to decorate the courtyard. It's really too extravagant. Although Yun Chuzhou had never heard of these things mentioned by Sha Mo, one thing she could hear was that this Tian residence was not just an ordinary rich house. As expected of the leader of the 6 great demon clans, the heavenly demon clan was not to be underestimated. Yun Chuzhou was carried by Qiu Yu and Dong Shui through 2 courtyards before she arrived at the rear residence. Qing Mama lowered her voice and said, "When you see the old madam later, you will obediently admit your mistake. After all, she is your biological grandmother. If the old madam is soft-hearted, she might be lenient and give you fewer lashes. If you are as stubborn as before, not only will you be whipped, but you will also be punished to kneel in the demonic hall for a few days." Yun Chuzhou immediately felt terrible. She thought that the so-called punishment was to lock her in the courtyard and not allow her to go out. Yet, she still had to be whipped. She still had to kneel for a few days. Well, I will seriously tell you again. I am really not the ninth miss. You have mistaken me for someone else. You'd better hurry up and find the real ninth miss. Otherwise, it won't be good if she's in danger, Yun Chujo said sincerely. Ching Mama sneered, ninth miss, don't play tricks. You'd better go and apologize to the old madam. Otherwise, it won't be a matter of a few lashes. You might be sent to the magic crystal mine directly. Yun Chujo wanted to cry, but no tears came out. If she had known it would be like this, she would have changed her appearance when she noticed the eyes of the city gate guards. She was really careless. Now that she had arrived at the Tian residence, it was impossible to escape. When she came in just now, she saw several groups of patrolling guards, so she could only force herself to continue acting. Thinking of this, Yun Chujo laughed dryly, Ching Mama, I was just joking to ease my nervousness. The old woman and the two maids looked at her strangely. They were puzzled. This ninth young miss had always been a stubborn blockhead, but now she was actually joking. Could it be that she had become enlightened? Yun Chujo naturally noticed their eyes, but she didn't care. After all, they were sure that she was the so-called ninth young miss. Even if her personality was different, they wouldn't doubt her identity. Right now, the most important thing was how to avoid being punished. She didn't want to be whipped as soon as she arrived at the demon continent. Unfortunately, she had no idea about the situation of the old madam and the so-called ninth miss, so she could only respond to their moves. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6109 She'll beat you to death, you vile creature. Yun Chujo was escorted to an elegant courtyard by Ching Mama. The moment she entered the courtyard, Ching Mama changed her bossy attitude towards Yun Chujo and behaved like an old quail. Qiu Yu and Dong Shui kept quiet in fear and did not dare to say another word. Yun Chujo thought to herself, it seems that this so-called old madam has accumulated a lot of power. Otherwise, Ching Mama and the other two would not be so afraid. The four of them arrived at the door. Ching Mama's old face was smiling like a chrysanthemum as she said to the two maids at the door, "You'll have to trouble the two ladies to help pass the message. Tell them that this old servant has found the ninth miss." One of the maids looked at Yun Chujo with a slightly contemptuous gaze. Then, she opened the curtain and went in to pass the message. A moment later, the maid walked out and said indifferently, "The old madam asked you and the ninth miss to go in. The two of them don't have to follow. They just have to wait outside to be punished." Chuyue and Dong Shui's faces instantly turned pale, but they knew that they had no choice. Whenever Miss Jiu caused trouble, they had to be punished as well. Yun Chujo felt the two resentful gazes behind her and complained in her heart. She was the one who had bad luck, okay? Ching Mama thanked the maid and glanced at Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo knew that she was urging her to go in. She could only bite the bullet and walk in front while Ching Mama followed behind her. Yun Chujo glanced around and saw an old lady sitting on the seat with a gloomy face. The way she looked at her was almost like she was looking at something dirty. Clang! A teacup smashed towards Yun Chujo's face. Yun Chujo had a thought. If she dodged, this old lady would be even angrier, but if she didn't dodge, it would hurt her face. Hence, this fellow took the opportunity to kneel down. The teacup flew over her and landed right on Ching Mama's face behind her. Ching Mama, who was dizzy from the impact, old lady Tian was also stunned, but she could not find any fault with it. She could only say angrily, "You still have the face to come back? How could our Tian family produce such a useless thing like you? It's fine if you can't cultivate demonic chi, but you actually shamelessly seduced the second prince. That's your cousin Ru Lu's fiancé. Why don't you look in the mirror and see your ugly appearance? Is the second prince something that a good-for-nothing like you can dream of? What a toad wants to eat swan meat. After being exposed by Ru Lu, you actually dared to run away from home. What a disgrace. I'll beat you to death today, you vile spawn, to avoid bringing shame to our Tian family. Do mama, please punish this vile spawn, beat her to death for me. Hei Xinjiu was dumbfounded. How was this a matter of a few lashes? She was going to beat her to death. If she said that she was an imposter now, would this vicious old lady believe it? She definitely wouldn't believe it. Hearing this old lady call him trash and ugliness, she was afraid that her previous flattery would be useless. What should she do? Seeing that Du Mama had returned with a tray with a long red whip on it, it was unknown what material the whip was made of. It looked very frightening. If this whip was to be lashed on her body, just thinking about it would be very satisfying. However, this vicious old lady might not really want her life. If she wanted to kill her, she did not need to specifically capture her. Wouldn't it be more convenient to just kill her quietly outside? Even so, she did not want to be lashed. Her lowered eyes flashed. She had it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 61:10 The Miserable Sha-Mo. Yun Chuzhou suddenly raised her head with a face full of regret and determination. Grandmother, I have committed a grave sin. I don't need you to do anything. I will kill myself now so that I don't embarrass the Tian family again. As Yun Chuzhou spoke, she took out a dagger and aimed it at her abdomen. Her clothes were immediately dyed red with blood, which gave old lady Tian a fright. Yun Chuzhou raised the dagger again and made a gesture to stab down. Old lady Tian slammed the table. Enough. You're really trying to anger me to death. You're a jinx. Why didn't you die back then? Why did my poor Hunger die? Get lost. Get lost. Stay in the courtyard and never come out again. Yun Chuzhou did not have the time to think about the huge amount of information in old lady Tian's words. She said, weakly, yes, granddaughter, as you command. After saying that, Yun Chuzhou staggered to her feet and fainted in Qing Mama. Confused, Qing Mama had no choice but to carry her out of the house. Hei Xinjiu cursed in her heart. If it were not for the fact that she cleverly used the trick of suffering, this vicious old lady would definitely have suffered a lot. Sha-Mo, who was in the spiritual beast bag, was holding the wound on his arm and pulling on it. The trick of suffering? It was clearly his blood, all right. What kind of sin had he committed to meet such a black-hearted little pervert? Yun Chuzhou was supported to a small courtyard. Although the area was not big and the decorations were a little shabby, the place was very clean. It seemed that although the three of them were not very respectful to her, and there was some resentment and disdain, they were at least diligent. Yun Chuzhou was placed on the bed. Just when Qing Mama was about to open Yun Chuzhou's clothes to check her wound, Yun Chuzhou woke up. Don't worry about me. Go out. Qing Mama left without any hesitation. Yun Chuzhou could not help but sigh. It seemed that the original ninth miss was not very popular. However, it was better this way so that she would not be exposed. Although she had only entered the residence for a short while, she could imagine why the ninth young miss had run away from home. She could not cultivate demonic qi, the servants were disloyal, the elders did not like her, and she was accused of seducing her cousin's fiancé. If she did not leave, would she still stay for the new year? However, according to Qing Mama, the original owner was introverted and stubborn. How could she do something like seducing her cousin's fiancé? There might be something else going on here. Just as she was thinking, Qing Mama's fawning voice sounded from outside, Miss Ru Lu, please come in. Yun Chuzhou frowned and closed her eyes to pretend to be asleep. Miss Zhou, Ms. Qing Mama shouted loudly, deliberately trying to wake Yun Chuzhou up. Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes and saw a girl in white standing in front of the bed with a concerned look. Qing Mama moved a chair over and said, Miss Ru Lu, please have a seat. After Tian Rulu sat down, Chen Xiao, the maid standing behind her, smiled and said, Qing Mama, let's go out and let the two masters talk properly. Qing Mama did not even look at Yun Chuzhou and followed Chen Xiao out. Yun Chuzhou could not help but feel speechless. This Qing Mama really did not put the original owner in her eyes at all. After Chen Xiao and Qing Mama left, Tian Rulu stared at Yun Chuzhou for a long time and then said with a smile, "Sister Zhou, do you still remember when we fell into the lotus pond when we were young?" Yun Chuzhou was shocked. Did Tian Rulu suspect that she was a fake? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6111 was a complete blackout. Yun Chuzhou quickly calculated all the possibilities in her mind. Was she faking it? Treating the symptoms but not the root of the problem could not dispel Tian Rulu's suspicion. Then, she had to give a correct answer. According to the difference in their statuses in the mansion, it was not strange for her to fall into the lotus pond, but how could Tian Rulu fall into it as well? It was either to frame her, or to show her good reputation of sacrificing herself to save others. In any case, there must be a conspiracy behind this. Therefore, Yun Chuzhou revealed a mocking expression. "Don't you know clearly what happened back then? I am not as smart as you, but I will not be stupid forever." Tian Rulu was not angry after hearing Yun Chuzhou's words. She said lightly, "It doesn't matter if you are stupid or smart. If you want to live well, you should know what to say and what not to say. If not, you might not be so lucky to save your life next time." Yun Chuzhou was shocked. Why did she listen to Tian Rulu's words? Did she send someone to kill the original ninth miss? And it seemed that she succeeded. Otherwise, she would not have come to probe. However, she did not know if the original ninth miss was dead or escaped. She also did not know what the original owner knew, that Tian Rulu would actually send people to kill her. Could it be that the so-called seducing of the second prince was just to find an excuse to kill her? Yun Chuzhou's heart was in turmoil, but she said coldly on the surface, "Don't worry. After this experience, I feel that nothing is more important than being alive. I won't say anything." Tian Rulu nodded. "It's good that you know. We are cousins after all. I don't want you to reunite with your parents at such a young age." After saying that, Tian Rulu stood up and walked away. When she reached the door, she raised her voice. "Sister Zhou, you should recuperate well. I'll come and see you in a few days." Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly and didn't say anything. "Thank you, Sister Zhou." Qing Mama's attentive voice came from outside the house. It seemed that she had received some rewards and kept thanking her. After a while, Qing Mama pushed the door open and came in. Her old face was smiling like a chrysanthemum. "Miss Zhou, it's not that I want to say too much, but Miss Rulu really has nothing to say to your cousin. Not only did she not hate you, but she even forgot about the past and came to visit you. You can't do anything to let Miss Rulu down in the future." Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes in her heart, but on the surface, she agreed. You're right. I'll thank her properly in the future. I'm sleepy. You can leave now." Qing Mama pouted and twisted her old waist as she left. Yun Chuzhou could not help but have a headache. Should she think of a way to escape? At this moment, Sha Mo, who was in the spirit beast pouch, said, "Little girl, it seems that you really did not lie to me. Since there is a second prince, then there must be a devil emperor. I just don't know if he is the real devil emperor. You can stay in the Tian family. Although you are not favored, you might have the chance to meet the devil emperor. What you said is easy. You heard it too. This so-called ninth young lattice parents are all choked up. That old lady Tian hates her to the extreme. Also, that Tian Rulu just now also wants to kill her. Should I stay and wait for death?" She did not think that Tian Rulu would really let her off like she said. She would definitely find an opportunity to silence her, because only a dead person could keep a secret. Most importantly, she knew nothing about the original owner and the Tian family situation. She was completely blind. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 61:12. You can stay or not, but if you want to find that Shui Wuji and your lover, staying in the Tian residence is the best choice. After all, the identity of the heavenly demon race is more useful than anything else. Sha Mo snorted coldly. He had also learned to be smart and knew to start from the things that Yun Chuzhou cared about. Yun Chuzhou thought about it and it made sense. If she wanted to find information about Shui Wuji and Di Baiming, she had to first establish a foothold in the demon race continent. The Tian family was a good stepping stone. However, the information she knew was too limited. She had to find a way to get some information out of them. Meng Yanshou had spent a lot of energy to fabricate the dream realm for her. Although she still had some energy left, she didn't want to use it unless it was absolutely necessary. It seemed that Qing Mama was greedy. As long as she gave her some benefits, she should be able to get the information out easily. Unfortunately, she did not have any demon crystals with her. Sha Mo, that poor devil, did not have anything at all. What should she do? Forget it. No matter what, she should use words to coax her first. Perhaps she could get some information out of her. Yun Chuzhou was about to call Qing Mama in to get the information, but when she found out that Qing Mama had gone out for a stroll, she was completely speechless. It was not until evening that Qing Mama returned. Yun Chuzhou was about to call her in to ask for more information, but she heard a commotion outside, as if something big had happened. Logically speaking, a big family like the Tian residence, which had strict rules, would definitely not be so noisy if something big had not happened. What exactly had happened? Yun Chuzhou was now seriously injured. Although she was very curious, it was not good for her to go out and watch the show. Fortunately, she soon heard the shouts of Qing Mama and the others. Look, it's Kai Luan. Miss Ru Lu is indeed a proud daughter of heaven. When she broke through, she could actually attract Kai Luan's abnormal phenomenon. Although it's not the real Kai Luan, it's still rare in this world. Miss Ru Lu is the pride of our Tian family. She's much stronger than the one in the room. TCH, not only is she much stronger, she's thousands of times stronger. She can't even cultivate devil chi. She can only rely on the spirit stones left by her mother to cultivate. She's so stingy. If she had given up some of them to exchange for devil crystals, she wouldn't have been in such a dire situation. Even we would have suffered along with her. Sigh, let's not talk about it anymore. It's our bad luck to have such a master. We didn't get any benefits, but we still have to suffer. We're really unlucky. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like the original owner's mother was most likely a human. Otherwise, she wouldn't have left behind spirit stones, and the original owner wouldn't have been unable to cultivate devil chi. The original owner's identity was practically tailor-made for her. After disguising herself, she was actually cheated. She didn't know if her luck was good or bad. She just didn't know if the original owner was dead or alive. After all, she had borrowed her identity, so she still owed her a favor. If she died, she would help her take revenge. If she was still alive, she would have to repay her in the future when she found her. However, since the original owner had the spirit stones left by her mother, she could solve her current predicament. She could ask Qing Mama to exchange her spirit stones for magic crystals. Firstly, she would have more money, and secondly, she could use them to bribe Qing Mama. As for Tian Rulu and what secret the original owner had discovered, she would have to figure it out slowly. No matter how weak she was still the young miss of the Tian residence. Even if Tian Rulu wanted to attack, she had to have some scruples. Otherwise, she wouldn't have plotted such a scheme and forced the original owner out of the Tian family before making a move. Just as Yun Chuzhou was thinking about it, she heard a commotion outside, and it seemed to be even more chaotic than before. Then, she heard the ear-piercing shriek of Qing Mama, "Mother, why is Kai Wan flying towards us?" If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 61:14. Tian Rulu gritted her teeth and gathered the demonic chi in her right hand before extending it towards Kaiwan. The Kaiwan hesitated for a moment before flapping its wings and flying towards Tian Rulu's hand. It seemed like it wanted to land in her hand. Tian Rulu was so excited that her hand was trembling. If Kaiwan really landed in her hand, it would be much stronger than just summoning Kaiwan. When she thought of everyone's envious eyes and admiring words, Tian Rulu looked at Kaiwan even more fervently. At this moment, with a creak, the door was opened from the inside. A pale-faced little girl walked out with a wooden stick. "Io, where did this big pheasant come from? Everyone, are you blind? This is a wild chicken. This is Kaiwan, okay?" Tian Rulu was naturally very angry, but her eyes were all on that Kaiwan, so she naturally didn't want to cause any trouble. Thus, she still looked at that Kaiwan expectantly. Who would have thought that Kaiwan would actually turn around and fly towards the direction of the house door without any hesitation? Tian Rulu simply couldn't believe her eyes. In a panic, she once again condensed devil chi on her right hand. However, Kaiwan did not even turn her head and flew towards Yunchujo. Everyone was shocked. Everyone in the imperial city knew that the 9th miss of the Tian family was born unable to cultivate devil chi and was ignorant. Otherwise, she would not have treated Kaiwan as a pheasant. Then the question was, why did Kaiwan fly towards her? Could it be that the pearl was covered in dust? In reality, the 9th miss of the Tian family was a genius. The first prince and the third prince immediately felt at ease. They looked at Yun Chujo with a hint of evaluation in their eyes. If Kaiwan really chose her, then perhaps marrying her would be a good choice. Yun Chujo was somewhat dumbfounded. The reason why she came out was firstly to disrupt Tian Rulu's good deed, and secondly, to obtain more information. Moreover, she had to come out to brush her face and let everyone remember that the Tian family still had a 9th miss, so that she could act in the future. But why was this wild chicken flying towards her? It was not that Hei Shinjo did not know the goods, it was mainly because this fellow had seen the 5-colored phoenix, and had also seen the black phoenix, Xiao Heinyo. In her eyes, this Kaiwan was really no different from a wild chicken. Moreover, Kaiwan was just an illusion. She could not see anything strange about it. However, if Kaiwan chose her, it would be a good thing. At least, it could improve her treatment in the Tian family. Thinking of this, Hei Shinjo found Kaiwan much more pleasing to the eye. She said with a smile, "Big pheasant, come to sister." This fellow couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It seemed that this devil race continent was indeed her blessed land. Not only did she pick up the identity of 9th miss, but this big pheasant even took the initiative to come to her side. Finally, her luck had turned. Just when this fellow was feeling happy, a trace of resentment flashed in the eyes of the Kaiwan. Its entire body turned into a cluster of black flames and rushed towards Yunchujo. Even in her dreams, Hei Shinjo did not expect Kaiwan to do such a thing. In addition, her cultivation had been suppressed quite a bit. It was definitely too late for her to completely avoid it. Although she could activate the spirit weapon's protection, she was afraid of giving herself away, so she could only activate the spirit energy barrier and throw the wooden stick to the ground. Even so, her hair was still burned. Hei Shinjo had no choice but to roll on the ground. As she rolled on the ground, she rejoiced in her heart. Fortunately, she was now a shriveled bean sprout. If she had a front, a bulge, a back, and a curvy body, her butt might have been burned. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 61:16. Who exactly are you? Tian Shifeng's old eyes flashed with a bright light as he laughed loudly. What little girl Ruhua said makes sense. Kaiwan must have liked her too much and was unable to express herself for a moment. That's why she ended up like this. If she was really angry, it wouldn't be as simple as burning Ruhua's hair. Moreover, Kaiwan specially flew to this courtyard, which shows that it really likes Ruhua. Yun Chujiu, who is Ruhua? Who is she? Who is she? Her heart was like 10,000 divine beasts whizzing past. Don't tell her that her current identity was called Tian Ruhua. Tian Rulu didn't expect Tian Shefeng to actually speak up for Yun Chujiu. She immediately said with a disapproving expression, "Grandfather, that Kaiwan clearly, Rulu, you've just broken through. Quickly go back and stabilize your realm." "Your Highness, everyone, we haven't had enough fun just now. Let's go back to the front yard and continue drinking. Kaiwan's appearance is His Majesty's blessing and the blessings of all living beings. We must get drunk today." When Tian Shefeng said these words, he gave Tian Rulu a warning glance. Tian Rulu did not dare to speak anymore, even though she was extremely unwilling in her heart. The three princes and the other family heads chatted for a while before leaving with Tian Shefeng. When Tian Rulu saw them leave, she immediately said to old Madame Tian with tears in her eyes, "Grandmother, I originally wanted to invite Kaiwan to bring glory to our Tian family." Who would have thought that? Old Madame Tian immediately glared at He Xingjiu, "You vile spawn. I don't believe what you said just now. You're a jinx. If you hadn't called Kaiwan a wild chicken, Kaiwan would have flown into the hands of Kaiwan. You really can't bear to see Kaiwan. You were coveting her fiancé before, and now you're meddling in her good deeds. I must teach you a lesson today. Do mama, get me the family law. I must beat this vile spawn to death today." Yun Chujiu was still immersed in the nightmare of Tian Ruhua's name. When she heard old lady Tian's words, she sighed, "Grandmother, what I said is true. If I lie, why would grandfather agree with me? You are an elder, do as you say. However, if you beat me to death and cripple me, His Majesty will summon me, the fated person of Kaiwan, on a whim. Then, it will not be easy for you to end things." Old lady Tian's face was livid. "Are you threatening me? I wouldn't dare. I'm just telling the truth. Anyway, I only have this wretched life. If you want it, then take it. I've lived enough anyway. Why don't I stab myself again? So as not to dirty your whip?" Yun Chujiu took out a dagger as she spoke and made a gesture to stab her own abdomen. Old lady Tian was so angry that she was twitching. Good, good. You're AJ. You're really pissing me off. Just you wait. If the Emperor summons you, it's fine. Otherwise, HMPH. After saying that, old lady Tian left in a huff. She did not even have the mood to comfort Tian Rulu, who was still drenched in tears. Sha Mo, who was in the spirit beast pouch, let out a long breath. He was on the verge of bleeding again. Tian Rulu did not expect Yun Chujiu to dismiss old lady Tian with just a few words. She said to Yun Chujiu with a gloomy face, "Sister Jiu, let's talk inside the house." Yun Chujiu did not object. She picked up the wooden stick on the ground and staggered back into the house. Qing Mama and the others tactfully did not enter the house. Tian Rulu naturally did not have any scruples. She stared at Yun Chujiu. "If you are not Tian Ruhua, then who are you? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 61:17. Originally, Tian Rulu had already dispelled some of her suspicions, but the incident that had just happened made her suspicious again. Tian Ruhua's character, which had originally been completely useless, had suddenly become so sharp-tongued. Moreover, the person who had been sent to assassinate Tian Ruhua had reported that after confirming that Tian Ruhua had breathed her last, she had been thrown into the magical beast forest. How could she have come back all of a sudden? This Tian Ruhua must be a fake. Yun Chujiu bared her little white teeth and said in a somewhat sinister manner, "You are right. I am not Tian Ruhua. The previous Tian Ruhua is already dead. From now on, the one who is still alive is Wu Chang, who wants to take your life." Tian Rulu, Tian Dao is good at reincarnation. I will return everything you did to me to you one by one. Tian Rulu was frightened by her cold tone and took 2 steps back. She immediately reacted and said with a cold smile, Tian Ruhua, I didn't expect you to be a dog that doesn't bark. You want to fight with me? Good, very good, just you wait. She was just a good-for-nothing who didn't have anything to rely on, yet she still wanted to seek revenge on her. What wishful thinking. However, she also dispelled her suspicions towards Yun Chuzhou. She thought that she had hidden her true nature in the past, but now, she had finally exposed herself. This was exactly what Yun Chuzhou wanted. As for the revenge of Tian Rulu and the second prince, she would just have to deal with it as it came. Seeing that Tian Rulu had left in a huff, Qing Mama sighed and entered the house. Miss Jiu, it's not that I want to say too much. You shouldn't have left the house today, and you shouldn't have gone against Miss Rulu. You've even offended the old lady. How are we going to live in the future? Yun Chuzhou narrowed her eyes. She had plenty of ways to deal with this kind of unruly slave. However, her footing was not stable now, so it was better to temporarily win her over. Hence, Yun Chuzhou sighed. Qing Mama, I also regret it. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have left the house no matter what. However, who would have known that Kyle Wan had landed in our courtyard? Qing Mama also felt very strange in her heart. Why did Kyle Wan fly into their courtyard all of a sudden? Could it really be because she liked this good-for-nothing Miss Jiu? Qing Mama, after this matter, I finally understand something. In this family, only you are the most reliable. Although we are called master and servant, in the bottom of my heart, I treat you as an elder. It's just that I was blinded by my heart and couldn't express it. I've disappointed you, Yun Chuzhou said while wiping away her tears. Looking at Yun Chuzhou's dirty little face filled with tears, Qing Mama felt a rare sense of compassion. Miss Jiu, you're still injured. Don't cry. There's always a way out. You'll get through it eventually. Yun Chuzhou grabbed Qing Mama's hand. Mama, you're the best to me. You've seen my situation in this manner. From now on, I don't ask for anything else. I just want to live. Mama, you're well informed. I'll be relying on you in the future. Hearing Yun Chuzhou's words, Qing Mama suddenly felt that her body had grown taller. She immediately said, Miss Jiu, don't worry. I'll do my best to serve you in the future. Yun Chuzhou knew that this old woman was just being soft-hearted for a moment. In the future, she would do what she always did. She had to give her something in return. Granny, think of a way to exchange these spiritual stones for magic crystals. Just give me half of them. You can keep the rest for me. You can just pay for your daily expenses from the inside. Tell me if you don't need them anymore. I've thought it through now. It's useless to keep those spiritual stones. It's better to let us relax. Chapter 61:18 The mask was gone. Qing Mama's old face immediately smiled like a chrysanthemum. Ninth Miss, you're right. It's not that my words are unpleasant, but the spiritual energy in our demon continent is scarce. No matter how hard you try to cultivate your spiritual energy, you won't make much progress. Yun Chuzhou handed the spiritual stone to Qing Mama while sighing. Mama, you're right. I've been too muddle-headed in the past. I hope you can teach me more in the future. Qing Mama saw that Yun Chuzhou kept calling her Mama, and her face was full of trust. Most importantly, the spirit stone in her hand was genuine. The smile on her face immediately became more genuine. Yun Chuzhou held Qing Mama's hand again. Qing Mama was shocked. She thought that Yun Chuzhou wanted the spirit stone back, so she quickly put the spirit stone into her storage ring. Yun Chuzhou couldn't help but laugh. This Qing Mama was even more greedy than her. Mama, I'm scared today. Can you talk to me after dinner? Yun Chuzhou asked sincerely. Qing Mama immediately agreed. After dinner, she took a chair and sat by the bed to talk to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou started to talk to Yun Chuzhou silently. Finally, she learned something about Tian Ruhua. Tian Ruhua's mother, Ji Xiaoyun, was a human being and had a very low status in the demon continent. However, Tian Ruhua's father, Tian Hanhong, fell in love with Ji Xiaoyun at first sight. He would marry her no matter what. The old lady tried her best to stop them but failed. In the end, she let them get married. They thought that the bitter would come to an end. However, when the three of them went out to play, they were attacked by demon beasts. Tian Hanhong lost his life to protect Tian Ruhua and her daughter. Although Ji Xiaoyun saved her life, she was unable to recover from the pain of losing her husband. After spending a year in bed, she also passed away. Old Lady Tian thought that Tian Ruhua was the nemesis of her parents, so she naturally did not treat her well. In addition, she could not cultivate the demonic qi, so her situation became worse. As for why the Tian family called Tian Rulu and the others Miss Rulu and Miss Rushuang, but called Tian Ruhua Jiu Miss, the reason was very simple. They felt that Tian Ruhua's appearance did not match the word Ruhua. Yun Chujiu, I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yun Chujiu was afraid of arousing the suspicion of Qing Mama, so she did not dare to ask too much for a moment. She simply found an excuse to dismiss Qing Mama. After Qing Mama left, Yun Chujiu looked at the bronze mirror and scolded in a low voice, "Damn it, that damn pheasant actually dared to burn my hair. If I see its real body, I will definitely turn it into a bald chicken." Sha Mo said with some schadenfreude, "Little girl, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you also deserve it. Who told you to call Kaiwan a big pheasant?" Yun Chujiu snorted coldly, "If it's not like this, do you think that a poor little girl like me has the chance to make a name for herself? Do you have the chance to enter the palace to meet the emperor? Don't you want to see the demon emperor?" Sha Mo immediately changed his words, "I was just casually saying." "You are right, that is not Kaiwan but a big pheasant. The others are all blind." Yun Chujiu curled her lips. Just as she was about to ridicule him, she heard Sha Mo's heart-wrenching roar. "Where's the mask? Where's the Devil Emperor's mask? Who stole the mask?" Yun Chujiu was startled and quickly used her spiritual sense to probe into the spirit beast pouch. She saw Sha Mo's eyes were red as he was rummaging around. "Smelly girl, did you hide His Majesty's mask?" Chapter 61:19, The Drifter reappeared. Yun Chujiu said unhappily, "Why would I hide it for no reason? Besides, don't you stare at the mask all day long? How did you lose it all of a sudden? Could it be that the thief is calling for the thief?" Sha Mo was so angry that he was trembling. "If I could put the mask away, I would have put it away long ago. Why would I wait for now? Are you trying to use the mask to blackmail me, so you hid the mask?" Yun Chujiu pouted. "I have plenty of ways to threaten you. Why would I use that broken mask for no reason?" "Oh right, when did the mask disappear?" Sha Mo was dumbfounded by this question. Although he valued the mask very much, and he kept a close eye on it at the beginning, as time went by, he felt that it was very safe in the spiritual beast bag, so he paid his respects to it sooner or later. He did not pay too much attention to it in the middle. Just now, when he was about to pay his respects, he realized that the mask was gone. As for when it was gone, he really didn't pay attention to it. Yun Chujiu asked Buttface and the others, "Do you have any clues?" The silly cuties shook their heads one after another. They weren't that old fool, Sha Mo, who would stare at a broken mask for no reason. Only the red shadow rabbit in the corner had a twinkle in its eyes. Others didn't pay attention to it, but he saw it. Just as the little devil's hair was burning, the mask disappeared. However, he did not plan to tell Yun Chujiu. He was very sad that the Divine Devil Temple had been destroyed, but when he heard that the higher-ups of the Divine Devil Temple had all died because of the spiritual imprint, he felt a little sad. He did not know whether he was angry or grateful towards Yun Chujiu. She had imprisoned him here without any dignity, but if it were not for her, he might have also died because of the spiritual imprint. At that moment, he did not know how to face Yun Chuzhou, so he temporarily decided to watch coldly from the sidelines. Yun Chuzhou and Sha Emo searched the spiritual beast bag thoroughly, but they could not find the red mask. Yun Chuzhou said to Sha Emo, who looked like he had nothing left to live for, "That red mask is very strange. Previously, when we were in the desert, it would sneak away by itself. Maybe this time, it went somewhere to play and will come back in 2 days." Sha Mo's face was full of tears. "I'm sorry to His Majesty the Demon Emperor. I'm really useless. I'm just a good for nothing." Seeing that he would not stop, Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to coax him. Maybe that demon emperor is real, so the mask went to look for him. Sha Mo's crying stopped abruptly. "What you said makes sense. It must be so. Quickly think of a way to enter the palace. I want to confirm it." Yun Chuzhou comforted him perfunctorily, and Sha Mo finally stopped crying. After all this, it was already late at night. Yun Chuzhou pondered for a while about what had happened today, and soon fell asleep. As soon as she fell asleep, wisps of red mist drifted out from between her brows. It was the drifters who had disappeared for a long time. The drifters were very smug in the bedroom. They made a mess of the things in the bedroom and even lifted He Xinjiu up and threw her on the ground. What was strange was that no one, including He Xinjiu or Qing Mama and the others in the side room, noticed the disturbance. The 3 foodies in Yun Chuzhiu's Dantian noticed it, but they didn't do anything and didn't wake He Xinjiu up. The red drifters struggled for a while. When the sky was about to brighten, they hid between Yun Chuzhiu's brows again, leaving only a mess. When Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes, she was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 61:20 Goei Butsao snitch. Yun Chuzhou looked at the mess in the house with her mouth agape, then looked at the bed not far away. What was going on? Could it be that she was sleepwalking? She did not have such a problem. However, how could Qing Mama and the others not notice such a big commotion? At this time, Chuyue and Dong Shui knocked on the door and came in to serve. When they saw the situation in front of them, they were also dumbfounded. "Ninth Miss, what happened to you?" They were puzzled. This ninth miss had a long temper. She actually imitated other masters and started to smash things. However, why didn't they hear any movement? Could it be that she was sleeping too hard? Upon hearing the movement, Qing Mama also ran over. Just as she was about to teach Yun Chuzhou a lesson, she thought of the spiritual stones that she had gotten yesterday and said to Chuyue and Dong Shui in a bad mood, "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and help Miss Jiu up. First, help Miss Jiu to my room to rest. After breakfast, you guys clean up this place." Chiu Yu and Dong Shui had always listened to Qing Mama's words. They immediately helped Yun Chuzhou to Qing Mama's room. After breakfast, Qing Mama sent Chiu Yu and Dong Shui away and asked with concern, "Miss Jiu, even if you are unhappy, don't vent your anger on something. It doesn't matter if the thing is destroyed, but what will happen if your injury worsens?" Yun Chuzhiu's heart was filled with bitterness, but she couldn't explain anything, so she could only answer vaguely. Qing Mama asked a few more questions and then hurried out. Without asking, Yun Chuzhou knew that Qing Mama must have gone to exchange for magic crystals. As soon as Qing Mama left, He Xinjiu asked Dumeng, who was in the spirit beast bag, what had happened last night. Dumeng was at a loss. In an instant, they had lost contact with Yun Chuzhiu's spiritual sense, so they had no idea what had happened. Yun Chuzhou was even more confused. Why did she have the habit of sleepwalking on the demon continent? After Chiu Yu and Dong Shui tidied up the house, they helped Yun Chuzhou back to her own house. The Goei Butsao in her dantian kept begging for food. Yun Chuzhou said unhappily, "Eat, eat, eat. All you know is to eat." Goei Butsao tried its best to show that it wanted control of the body. He Xinjiu did not know what it wanted to do, so she gave it control of the body. Goei Butsao waved its arms a few times and said excitedly, "I heard that the medicinal pills of the demon race taste pretty good. Think of a way to get more so that you can nourish me properly. I lost half my life for you previously. If you don't treat me properly, will you be able to live up to your own conscience? Yun Chujo snorted coldly, nourish me pro-pearl. Did I not nourish you enough in the past year? You ate more medicinal herbs than De Hua, that good for nothing. Previously, Goei Bakao's vitality had been greatly damaged. Yun Chujo had collected many high-grade herbs and pills to feed it. Finally, it had almost fully recovered. Goei Butsao said embarrassedly, I am still young and still growing. Naturally, I have eaten more. As long as you give me some demon pills to eat in the future, I will tell you a secret. Okay, go ahead. Yun Chujo agreed very quickly. Goei Butsao immediately gloated, it wasn't you who was sleepwalking last night. It was those drifters who did it. Goei Butsao was proud in its heart. It was killing two birds with one stone. Not only could it get the demon elixirs in exchange for fawning over the little girl, it could also secretly kill an opponent who was competing for the favor. Drifters? Yun Chujo was stunned. Those drifters hadn't come out to show off for a long time. Why did they suddenly start acting like demons again? Chapter 61-21, Rumors. After Yun Chujo regained control of her body, she found an excuse to send Xiao Yu and Dong Shui out of the courtyard. After the two of them left, she pressed her forehead with her hand and said in a bad mood, Drifters, all of you get out here. However, Yun Chujo waited for a while, but there was no response. Yun Chujo rolled her eyes and softened her tone, Little babies, come out. I will play with you for a while. However, although Yun Chujo sensed an excited emotion in her spiritual sense, the drifters still did not show up. Hei Shinjo had been threatening and enticing them for a while, but the drifters still did not show up. Hei Shinjo was so angry that she rolled her eyes. First, her hair was burned by the pheasant, then the red mask mysteriously disappeared, and now the drifters were jumping around again. Who did she offend? In the afternoon, Qing Mama came back. Qing Mama handed over half of the magic crystals to Hei Shinjo and hesitated. Seeing this, Yun Chujo said, Mama, if you have something to say, just say it. What's wrong? Qing Mama gritted her teeth and said, Miss Jo, when I went to the shop to exchange for the magic crystals today, I heard some rumors about you. They said that you are the lone star of Heaven's Bane, the star of calamity. If I don't kill you, everyone will suffer along with you. Qing Mama's old face was full of worry. She was not worried for Yun Chujo but for herself. It was not easy for her to have more money. If this good-for-nothing was killed, where would she get the money? Yun Chujo rolled her eyes and giggled. Mama, this is a good thing. Qing Mama felt that she must have gone crazy. She was almost a Death Star, yet she was still happy. If she wasn't crazy, then what was? Yun Chujo did not explain. She took the snacks that Qing Mama bought for her and started eating. This Qing Mama was quite good at handling things. On this point, she would be more lenient when dealing with her in the future. Seeing her heartless look, Qing Mama could only sigh and leave. Sha Mo asked in puzzlement, Are you really not worried? The demon race doesn't have the false benevolence of the human race. If your reputation as a scourge is confirmed, the Tian family will definitely not protect you. Besides, you are not favored to begin with, and no one will protect you. When the time comes, they will definitely hand you over. The demon race would usually burn you to death as a sacrifice to the demon god. It doesn't matter if you die. I don't want to die. I still have to serve His Majesty the Demon Emperor. Yun Chujo did not answer. Instead, she asked, Who do you think is behind these remarks? Ever since Sha Mo returned to the demon race, his brain was a little better than before. He immediately said, It's nothing more than the second prince or Tian Rulu. They would love for you to die. Yun Chujo immediately snapped her fingers. That's right. These two idiots gave me a good opportunity to rise to the top. Even if I can't rise to the top, I can still stomp on them. Sha Mo felt that his brain was not enough. Why was he getting more and more confused as he listened? Yun Chujo did not explain to him. Instead, She held her chin and pondered. After a while, she called Qing Mama in. Mama, grandmother grounded me. I can't leave the courtyard. Think of a way to see grandfather. Tell him that I have something important to tell him. It's about Kyle Wan. Qing Mama's head was shaking like a rattle drum. Ninth Miss, how can I simply ask to see the family head? If I'm not careful, I'll be punished. I won't go. Chapter 61:22 Should she hand it in or not? Yun Chujo placed a pile of spirit stones on the table. Mama, you can take these spirit stones and arrange them. Only grandfather can save me now. Please be kind to me. Qing Mama hesitated for a moment and looked at the pile of shiny spirit stones. She gritted her teeth and said, Okay, I'll give it a try. She thought to herself that at worst, she would just be beaten up, and it would be worth it to exchange for these spirit stones. Qing Mama was considered an old veteran in the Tian estate, and she also had many servants who were on good terms with her. After she found out the time when Tian Shefeng would return to the estate, she waited in the front yard early. It was not until evening that Tian Shefeng returned to the Tian estate with a sullen face. Qing Mama used her courage to approach him, and the guard behind Tian Shefeng immediately scolded, How dare you? Don't you know the rules, old woman? Get lost. Qing Mama was so scared that her legs turned soft. However, she still gritted her teeth and said, Master, our ninth miss said that she has something important to tell you. Yes, it's about Kyle Wan. The guard was about to forcefully drag Qing Mama away when Tian Shefeng waved his hand. What did you say just now? Say it again. Qing Mama repeated it again and said, The ninth miss is grounded by the old lady. That's why she asked this old servant to pass on the message. Tian Shefeng narrowed his eyes. A moment later, he said, Ask her to meet me in the study. Tian Shefeng left with the guard after saying that. Qing Mama wiped the cold sweat off her forehead and crawled back to meet He Xinjiu. She was stunned when she saw that He Xinjiu was fully dressed. Ninth Miss, did you know that the master would meet you? Yun Chujo smiled brightly. I have confidence in your ability, Mama. I know that you will definitely succeed. Qing Mama was dazzled by Yun Chuji's smile. Oh my, why does this Miss Jiu smile so beautifully? Could it be that her old eyes had gone blurry? When Qing Mama came back to her senses, she had already helped Yun Chujo out of the courtyard. Not long after they walked out, they coincidentally met Tian Rulis maid, Chun Shao. Chun Shao bowed to Yun Chujo. Just as she was about to speak, Qing Mama carried He Xinjiu and walked away like the wind. Qing Mama's thoughts were very simple. Since the master wanted to see Miss Jiu, it was better to hurry over. Chun Shao's eyes flashed and hurriedly reported to Tian Rulu. Qing Mama helped Yun Chujo to Tian Shifeng's study and then left. She prayed to the devil god for protection in her heart, hoping that Yun Chujo would not cause trouble. However, just as one of her feet crossed the threshold, she heard He Xinjiu say, Grandfather, hand me over. For the honor of our Tian residence, I will die without regrets. Bang! Qing Mama fell to the ground. Was this good-for-nothing Miss Jiu crazy? The guards could not stand it and dragged Qing Mama out of the courtyard like a dead dog. Tian Shefeng did not speak immediately after hearing Yun Chuji's words. He was not in a good mood today. Yesterday was supposed to be a day of showing his face, but it was because of this flower that the situation became out of control. Today, it was even more urgent and caused a storm in the city. Regardless of whether he handed her over or not, the result was not what he wanted to see. If he handed her over, the huge Tian family would not even be able to protect his own son. Wouldn't that be a joke? If he didn't hand it over, he would definitely become a weakness for the other families to attack the Tian family. After a moment of silence, Tian Shefeng coldly said, Are you speaking the truth? Are you really willing to be handed over? Do you know what awaits you once you are handed over? Chapter 61:24, How about I marry you? If it was in the past, Tian Shefeng would have been furious long ago. However, when he thought of the plan that Yun Chujo had just mentioned, he snorted coldly and called the commander of the Tian residence's guards, Ling Shi, in. Send Ruhua girl back. If madam makes things difficult for her, just say that I asked her to come. Ling Shi immediately responded respectfully. He was puzzled in his heart. Why would the head of the family take such care of this good-for-nothing ninth miss? Hadn't he always ignored her before? Tian Shefan glanced at Yun Chujo. This is the only time. It won't happen again. You'd better take care of yourself. After thinking for a while, he added, after this incident is settled, I will arrange a marriage for you. Don't go back to the Tian residence if you have nothing to do in the future. Yun Chujo, was he planning to kick her out? In your dreams. Qing Mama was pacing around outside. When she saw that Yun Chujo had finally come out, she wanted to ask about the result immediately, but when she saw Ling Shi behind Yun Chujo, she could only swallow her words. Mama, look how much grandfather dotes on me. Originally, he wanted to send me back personally, but I rejected him politely. He asked Ling Shi to send me back. I'm so touched. Ling Shi's eyes twitched, but he didn't say anything. How could Qing Mama know the twists and turns? She looked at Yun Chujo differently, and her attitude was much more respectful than before. Qing Mama supported He Xinjiu while Ling Shi followed behind. They could see Yun Chujia's courtyard from afar. Yun Chujo blinked her eyes. Ling Shi, I heard that your guards are good at hiding. You should be good as a guard commander, right? Ling Shi said expressionlessly, yes. Then you should hide first. Come out when I call you, He Xinjiu said with her eyes narrowed. Miss Jiu, I'm only responsible for sending you to the courtyard. As for the rest, Yun Chujo tugged at her clothes and said with a smile, if you don't do it, I'll say that you molested me. Anyway, grandfather wants to marry me off. How about I marry you? Ling Shi. I'll hide. Ling Shi's figure flashed and disappeared, hiding in the dark. Qing Mama was puzzled. Ninth miss, what do you want to do? Yun Chujo curled her lips. Do what? Of course, I want to use chicken feathers as a token and use them to intimidate others. Mama, my wound is a little painful, carry me. Qing Mama, for some reason, Qing Mama felt a chill on her back. She felt as if she had fallen into some big pit. Qing Mama hesitated for a moment, but she still carried He Xinjiu and comforted herself. For the sake of the spirit stones, she would carry He Xinjiu. As soon as the master and servant entered the courtyard, Du Mama, who was beside old lady Tian, said with a fake smile, Ninth miss, old lady grounded you, but you ran out without permission. Old lady is very angry. The old lady asked me to whip you 100 times to let you learn your lesson. Come and receive your punishment. Qing Mama's legs went weak and she almost fell to the ground. 100 lashes. This was clearly to kill ninth miss. Yun Chujia's eyes flashed. She had to teach this slave a good lesson and frame Tian Rulu at the same time. Du Mama, come here. I'll give you some good things, Yun Chujo said timidly. Du Mama curled her lips. She thought that Yun Chujo wanted to bribe her so that she would be lenient. She didn't want to give it up for nothing, so she walked up to Yun Chujo. Slap. Slap. Yun Chujo slapped Du Mama hard twice. Du Mama's face immediately swelled into a pig's head. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6126 was not open for credit. Du Mama hated and was afraid. It was clearly not the case, but why did it change when it came to this trash's mouth? However, she had no way of explaining it. It seemed to be the truth. This trash did say that the master summoned her, but she did not believe it herself. However, if she had not slapped herself twice, she would not have lost her cool in anger. Could it be that she did it on purpose? Thinking of this, Du Mama pointed at Yun Chuzhou and said, "You clearly provoked me on purpose, that's why I said what I wanted to say." Yun Chuzhou looked at her and said, "I provoked you on purpose? You were disrespectful to me, shouldn't I slap you twice? Why did I provoke you? Do you think that your status is higher than mine? Or do you think that in grandmother's eyes, I, the direct granddaughter, can't be compared to you, a grandmother?" Du Mama was so choked that she almost passed out, unable to utter a single word. Yun Chuzhou continued, "Ling Shi, chop off the finger that she pointed at me just now. Otherwise, if the rules are messed up, wouldn't every servant be able to point their finger at their master?" Ling Shi looked at Yun Chuzhou with some surprise, but he didn't move. Yun Chuzhou tugged at her own clothes. "Ling Shi, you haven't taken a wife this year, right?" Ling Shi, they did not see how Ling Shi had attacked. They only heard a scream from Du Mama. The finger that had pointed at Yun Chuzhou had been cut off by Ling Shi's demonic qi. Du Mama was in pain, afraid, and angry. She choked and fainted. The women and maids that she had brought with her were so scared that they did not dare to say a word. They did not even dare to help Du Mama up and let her lie there like a dead dog. They could finally see that things were different now. This good-for-nothing ninth miss seemed to have gained the favor of the master. Otherwise, why would even the commander of the guards, Ling Shi, listen to her commands? Only a fool would provoke her. Yun Chuzhou said to Qing Mama behind her, "Mama, pick up that broken finger of Du Mama." Qing Mama was already scared silly. Almost subconsciously, she picked up that broken finger of Du Mama. Coincidentally, Du Mama woke up at this time. Qing Mama saw the resentful look in Du Mama's eyes and was so scared that she almost threw the broken finger in her hand on the ground. Yun Chuzhou kicked Du Mama with the tip of her foot and said indifferently, "I heard that as long as you take the corresponding medicinal pill, the broken finger can be reattached. Now, you can spend money to buy your broken finger back." Ling Shi, how could she play like this? What was the difference between this and robbing money? "Miss Jiu, this is the Tian residence, not a Shanzhai. You are the ninth miss of the Tian family, not the king of the Bandit Mountain." Du Mama was almost driven mad with anger, but she was afraid of Ling Shi, who was beside Yun Chuzhou, and even more afraid of Tian Shefeng. She could only gnash her teeth and ask, "How much is it? How much is your finger worth? Why are you asking me? Are you an idiot?" He Xinjiu asked casually. Du Mama almost fainted from anger again. She gritted her teeth and said, 1,000 demon crystals. I don't know if the pheasant likes to eat fingers. I'd better keep this finger to feed it. The pheasant likes to play with me the most. It might fly over soon. 3,000 magic crystals. I heard that if this broken finger is delayed for a long time, it won't be so flexible even if it is attached. 10,000. I'll give you 10,000, okay? This is all I have. Yun Chuzhou saw that Du Mama was about to bite the back of her teeth and knew that this was her limit, so she said with a smile, money in one hand and goods in the other, no credit. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6127 Who would believe you? Du Mama spent 10,000 magic crystals to buy her finger back. She was so angry that she was trembling. When she turned around and was about to leave, Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly. You're leaving just like that? Shouldn't you bow before you take your leave? Du Mama could only gnash her teeth and bow. Miss Jiu, this old servant will take his leave. Yun Chuzhou casually waved her hand. I'll allow it. Du Mama had only taken a few steps when Yun Chuzhou said indifferently, Du Mama, if I didn't guess wrongly, it was Sister Ru Lu who complained to grandmother, right? TSK, I told Chen Xiao clearly that grandfather summoned me. Who knew that Sister Ru Lu actually didn't tell grandmother? Therefore, there is a debt to be repaid. If you are angry, you should go and vent your anger on Sister Ru Lu. Du Mama didn't say anything and left with the group of people in a hurry. Yun Chuzhou didn't really expect to succeed in sowing discord. However, both Old Lady Tian and Du Mama had a thorn in their hearts. It would work sooner or later. Leng Shi, who had watched the big show, said expressionlessly, "Miss Zhou, your subordinate will take his leave." Leng Shi, it's all thanks to you this time. If it weren't for you, I would definitely have been whipped to death by Du Mama, and I wouldn't have been able to complete the big deal just now. I can't use you for nothing, or else your heart would be cold. Here, this is your reward. Leng Shi looked at the pitiful magic crystal in front of him. Your subordinate doesn't dare to accept it. The family head still has something to tell me. Your subordinate will take his leave. Wait a moment. Help me pass a message to grandfather. The truth may not be easily found out. There are some things that need to be dug out. Leng Shi was stunned. He bowed and disappeared in a flash. Yun Chuzhou held the magic crystal in her hand and muttered to herself, "Sigh, why is there such a big difference between people? Leng Shi only does good deeds for free. Some people even steal master's money. How shameless. Qing Mama, it's not so easy to take advantage of me. Whoever takes advantage of me will sooner or later lose their hands, feet, and mouth. Ninth Miss, these are the magic crystals exchanged this morning and the spirit stones you gave me earlier," said Qing Mama with a sad face. Only these? Why do I feel that there are still some magic crystals missing? I bought those snacks for you. Aren't those snacks given to me by you? If I spend my own money, do I need you to buy them for me if I don't have hands? Qing Mama was about to cry when she met such an unreasonable person. But when she thought of Du Mama's miserable state, she could only take out 10 magic crystals to pay for the snacks. Yun Chuzhou nodded in satisfaction. Mama, as expected, you love me the most. No one else has ever bought me snacks. Don't worry, I will repay you properly in the future. Qing Mama, it would be a lie to believe you. However, she had already offended Du Mama. She was a grasshopper on the same rope as Miss Zhou in front of her. She seemed to have no other choice but to be obedient. On the other side, Du Mama, who had a swollen pig face, came to see Old Lady Tian with a severed finger that she had bought with 10,000 magic crystals. "Old lady, you have to make a decision for me." Du Mama cried with snot running down her nose. Old Lady Tian could not believe her eyes. She asked in surprise, How did you end up like this?" She did not suspect that He Xingjiu was the one who beat her up. After all, she was a good-for-nothing, and she did not have the ability or the courage to do so. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6128, The Mastermind. With a sad face, Du Mama recounted what had happened. "Old lady, Ninth Miss treated me like this. She doesn't take you seriously at all." Old Lady Tian slammed the table angrily. "I'm so angry. This evil creature is really going against the heavens. She even dared to hit you." A trace of viciousness flashed in Du Mama's eyes. A servant girl still wanted to fight with her. Even if the head of the family looked at her in a different light, the old lady would still be in charge of the inner residence. Du Mama originally thought that Old Lady Tian would send people to capture Yun Chuzhou, but she did not expect Old Lady Tian to take a deep breath and say, "However, since Leng Shi is involved in this matter, perhaps the master has other arrangements. Let her play around for a few days for the time being. I will deal with her after I ask the master. Go down and fix your finger. I will make the decision for you." Although Du Mama was unwilling, she did not dare to say anything. Anyway, there was still a long way to go. She did not believe that a little piece of trash could still turn the world upside down. At the same time, in Tian Shifeng's study, Leng Shi described the incident with an expressionless face. Cough, cough. Cough, cough. Tian Shifeng, who was drinking tea, almost choked to death. How come he never knew that he had such a granddaughter? Tian Shifeng thought for a long time but could not come up with a suitable adjective. He had blackmailed Du Mama and blackmailed Ling Shi. He was quite bold. Tian Shefeng rarely paid attention to the juniors in the mansion. At most, he would test their cultivation. His impression of this ninth granddaughter was only 2 words, trash. In addition, old lady Tian kept whispering in his ear about the jinx and so on. He did not have a good impression of the original Tian Ruhua. It was as if there was an idle person in the manor. When he got older, he could just find a family to marry. He did not expect that this Ruhua girl had opened his eyes. Although it was just some unpresentable tricks, it also showed that this girl was a little clever. Ling Shi thought of the last words that Yun Chuzhou said and quickly related to Tian Shefeng. Tian Shefeng frowned. According to what she said, thoroughly investigate the rumor. Investigate it carefully. Yes. The next evening, Ling Shi told Tian Shefeng the results of the investigation. Master, we first followed the clues and found out that the rumor was spread by the first prince. Later, after digging deeper, we found out that the instigator was not the first prince. The first prince was just framed and used. The actual rumor manipulator was the second prince, and Miss Ru Lu was also involved in it. Tian Shefeng was stunned at first, thinking that this was impossible. However, when he saw the conclusive evidence on the table, he flew into a rage. Outrageous. Truly outrageous. Tian Shefeng was about to explode from anger. He originally thought that it was done by the enemy, but who would have thought that it was done by his own family? Originally, he saw that Ru Lu was still a smart girl. In addition, her aptitude was not bad, so old lady Tian had always been biased towards her, so he did not have any objections. However, she had actually put the Tian family in a disadvantageous position for the sake of personal resentment. She was really stupid and bad. There was also that second prince. He could now give up the benefits of the Tian family to vent his anger. In the future, if he really became the Devil Emperor, he would not care about the Tian family. He was just an ingrate. The more Tian Shefeng thought about it, the angrier he got. Initially, he had some hesitation towards Yun Chujia's suggestion. Now, there was no hesitation at all. It seemed that no one was reliable. It was better to control the power in his own hands. Thus, Tian Shefeng gave a few orders to Ling Shi, and Ling Shi accepted the order and left. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6130, Grandmother, there's no such thing. Ninth sister must have framed me. You have to believe me. I'm just asking casually. Of course I believe you. Oh right, I heard from your grandfather that the selection for the Supreme Demonic Code will start in a few days. You should cultivate well recently and not be distracted by these things. As long as you can obtain the recognition of the Supreme Demonic Kanoni in the end, it will be much more useful than Kaiwan. Even if you can only cultivate the other 8 volumes, it will be enough to make your name known throughout the world. When Tian Rulu heard old lady Tian's words, her eyes immediately flashed with wild joy. Grandmother, is what you said true? Did grandfather really say that? How can I spout nonsense on such a big matter? I can't help you with this matter, it's all up to you. Quickly go back and cultivate well, and strive to pass the first round of the selection. Tian Rulu immediately agreed and left happily. Grandmother was right, the Supreme Demonic Code was much stronger than Kaiwan's false reputation. She originally thought that grandfather wouldn't start the selection for a while, but she didn't expect it to start so soon. Tian Rulu had just left old lady Tian's courtyard when she received a message from the second prince asking her to meet him. The demon race did not place great importance on men and women. Even unmarried men and women could meet each other alone. Thus, when Tian Rulu received the message, she went to the place where the second prince had agreed to meet her. Rulu, what's going on with the rumors these 2 days? If my guess is correct, these rumors were released on your grandfather's orders. He actually values that Tian Ruhua more than you. The second prince's expression did not look too good. He had spent a lot of effort to plan this matter, but in the end, he had given someone else the opportunity to marry him. One could imagine how angry he was. He was glad that he had arranged something. Even if Tian Shefeng sent people to investigate, they could only find out that the mastermind was the first prince's people. It had nothing to do with him. Your Highness, I don't know what grandfather is thinking either. Perhaps he just doesn't want the Tian family to lose face. Don't worry, our Tian family is about to begin the selection of the Supreme Demon Scripture. Among the same generation, even if there are a few cousins, their aptitude can't compare to mine. I will definitely be able to obtain the qualifications to cultivate the outer 8 chapters. Perhaps if I'm lucky, I might be able to cultivate the inner 8 chapters, Tian Rulu said confidently. The second prince's eyes immediately lit up. The reason why he chose Tian Rulu as the candidate for the crown prince's consort was not only because he wanted the support of the Tian family, but also because of the Supreme Demon Scripture. The Supreme Demonic Code was a secret of the Heavenly Demon clan, but he was confident that as long as Tian Rulu learned it, he would definitely have a way to trick her into teaching it to him. He immediately put on an affectionate expression. Rulu, I have always been very confident in you. You will definitely be able to pass the selection of the Supreme Demonic Code. I will send someone to send you more cultivation resources. Cultivate well and do your best to prepare for the selection of the Supreme Demonic Code. Tian Rulu nodded shyly. Yes, I will definitely pass the selection. At the same time, the Tian family also released the news about the selection of the Supreme Demonic Codex. All members of the Tian family, regardless of whether they were from the direct branch or the side branch, as long as they had not participated in the selection, they could participate. The entire Tian family was boiling. For the members of the Tian family, this matter was more important than anything else. All of them were training hard, waiting for the selection to arrive. Hei Xingjiu did not have any thoughts about this. She was an imposter and did not have any demonic qi. Even if she were to participate in the election, she would just be a bystander. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6132, The First Person to Cultivate Both Spirit and Devil in History. Didn't you say that many people have succeeded before? Sha Mo was annoyed. Why did he accidentally say that he was bald? Whatever he said before about cultivating both spirit and devil was just something he casually said. There was a big difference between cultivating devil qi and cultivating spirit qi. No one had ever cultivated both spirit and devil qi. The reason why he said that was to trick Yun Chuzhou into participating in the selection of the Supreme Demonic Book. The selection of the Supreme Demonic Book of the Heavenly Demon clan was very mysterious. They would never let outsiders be present. He had long wanted to see what the process was. Moreover, he still had a trace of luck. If the stinky girl was lucky enough to be selected, he could also secretly learn a thing or two. Who would have thought that Yun Chujia's words would provoke him into saying that he was bald? He was so annoyed that he wished he could slap himself twice. Seeing that Sha Mo did not say anything, Yun Chuzhou guessed a little. She snorted coldly and said, "You've grown so capable that you even dare to lie to me." Sha Mo quickly added, "I'm doing this for your own good. Although there's no precedent in the past, you can even dissolve corpse qi. Who knows, you might really succeed. Are you really that kind-hearted? Could it be that you want to secretly learn the Supreme Demonic Code?" Sha Mo's face immediately turned red. "I just want to broaden my horizons." "Forget it, you can go or not." Yun Chuzhou did not bother with Sha Mo anymore. In fact, even if he did not say anything, she would still join in the fun. Although the chances of being chosen were slim, it was still good to gather some useful information. On this day, the selection of the Supreme Demonic Codex began. Almost all the influential people of the Heavenly Demon clan had gathered at the Tian Family Ancestral Hall. The Tian Family Ancestral Hall was set up in the Tian residence and occupied a large area. Even if hundreds of people gathered together, it would not seem crowded. A moment later, Tian Shefeng walked in with 3 old men with white hair and white beards. These 3 old men were the grand elders of the Tian family and rarely appeared in front of people. They would only appear on important days like ancestor worship or the selection of the Supreme Demonic Codex. As the head of the Tian family, Tian Shefeng naturally had to preside over the selection of the Supreme Demonic Codex. He had said a lot of things in hopes that everyone would perform well and gain the favor of the Supreme Demonic Codex. Those who are participating in the selection, stand here. Immediately, a group of Tian family juniors stood in the designated area with excited expressions. He Xinjiu also stood there eagerly. Tian Rulu pouted. A trash who could not cultivate demonic qi actually had the face to participate in the selection. He really overestimated himself. The others had the same thoughts as Tian Rulu. They felt that Yun Chuzhou did not have any self-awareness at all. Could it be that the Supreme Demonic Codex would choose a trash like her? Old Madame Tian now disliked Yun Chuzhou 120 times. However, there was no place for her to speak on this occasion. She could only glare fiercely at Yun Chuzhou. Tian Shefeng did not expect Yun Chuzhou to be selected. However, as long as it was a descendant of the Tian family, they could participate in the selection. He did not say anything. There were a total of 53 descendants of the Tian family who participated in the first round of selection. Among them, 15 were from the Tian family's direct branch while the remaining 38 were from the side branch. The first round of selection was very simple. Those who participated in the selection would enter the ancestral hall and kneel down. If they could make the Supreme Demonic Code appear illusory, they would be considered to have passed the first round of selection. The clearer the phantom of the Supreme Demonic Book was, the better the talent, and the higher the chance of getting the favor of the Supreme Demonic Book. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 6133, Blood Drop. After Tian Shefeng announced the rules, he and the 3 supreme elders chanted an obscure secret language. A black statue that looked like a book appeared in front of the memorial tablet in the ancestral hall. The statue was completely black. There were only 4 ancient characters on it, the Supreme Demonic Book. Although the statue looked simple and unadorned, it made people feel an urge to worship it from the bottom of their hearts. Of course, He Xinjiu was not one of them. At this moment, this fellow was pondering in his heart. He did not know what material the statue was carved from, but it seemed to be very valuable. Tian Shefeng motioned for Tian Rusong, who was in the front row, to come forward and participate in the selection. Tian Rusong was a branch of the Tian family, and because he was the oldest, he was in the front row. He should have participated in the last selection, but because of his injury, he missed the last selection, so he could be said to be full of confidence in this selection. He immediately walked into the ancestral hall. He Xinjiu stretched her neck and looked curiously. The Sha Mo in her spirit beast bag was also looking at her through her spiritual sense. After Tian Rusong entered the ancestral hall, he knelt in front of the statue and kowtowed 3 times reverently. Then, he bit the index finger of his right hand and dripped blood on the statue. However, the statue didn't have any reaction. When the time was up, Tian Rusong could only bow his head and retreat. His blood couldn't make the phantom of the Supreme Demonic Code appear, which meant that he hadn't been chosen. Then, a few people entered the ancestral hall to participate in the election. All of them returned in defeat. At this time, it was the turn of Tian Ruan from the side branch to participate in the election. There was a hint of arrogance on his face. Although he was from the side branch, he had always been valued in the Tian family because of his outstanding talent. He knelt down and kowtowed 3 times before dripping his blood on the statue. Tian Shefeng and the others had high expectations of Tian Ruan, so they all focused their attention on the statue. However, no one had expected that a black demonic qi would shoot out from the statue and send Tian Ruan flying. Tian Ruan fell to the ground in a sorry state and spat out a mouthful of blood with a pale face. His mind was blank. What was going on? Why did the supreme demonic code attack him? The members of the Tian family were also at a loss. Such a thing had never happened before. Could it be that something had gone wrong with the supreme demonic code? At this moment, the first elder smashed the coffee table beside him into pieces. Tian Kalu, how dare you? Your 4 branches actually dared to send a wild child to participate in the election. Hurry up and get over here. Tian Kalu, who was from the Tian family's 4 branches, looked terrified and confused. Great elder, what? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Do you know why the supreme demonic code attacked him? Because he is not of the Tian family's bloodline. The supreme demonic codice are Tian family's secret. How dare you let a bastard take part in the election? What are your intentions? The great elder was furious. A bastard had always been heavily groomed. If this were to spread, the Tian family would definitely become the laughingstock of everyone. Tian Keela's face was filled with disbelief. Tian Ruin was his grandson. How did he become a bastard? Impossible. Impossible. I am clearly a descendant of the Tian family. How could I be a bastard? There must be a mistake in the supreme demonic codex. Tian Ruin's face was red and his neck was thick as he roared angrily. The great elder ignored Tian Ruin and snorted at Tian Kalu. Tian Kalu, if you can't even interrogate such a small matter, the leader of the 4th branch should be changed. Tian Kalu immediately agreed in fear and trepidation and began to interrogate Tian Ruin's parents on the spot. While the interrogation was in full swing, He Xinjia's heart was cold. This supreme demonic codex still had the function of blood identification. It was over, her fake identity was about to be exposed. Chapter 6134, What about? He Xinjia's little heart was pounding non-stop. Was it too late for her to withdraw now? This fellow was silently moving backwards, trying to leave the candidate area without anyone noticing. Who would have thought that after taking a few steps back, his body would bump into a transparent barrier? This fellow was immediately dumbfounded. No wonder all the candidates were standing here. It turned out that once they signed up, they could forget about withdrawing halfway. He Xinjiu immediately used her spiritual sense to scold Sha Mo. It's all your fault, you old fool. I said I wouldn't join, but you insisted on letting me join. What should we do now? Sha Mo was aggrieved. It was true that he had instigated her, but didn't she also want to take advantage of him? How could she blame him? At this time, Tian Keela's interrogation had come to an end. It was not complicated. Back then, when Tian Ruin's mother, Jiang Shi, went back to her mother's house, she had slept with her old lover for a night. When she was pregnant, the Jiang family was not sure who the child belonged to. They thought that they were lucky and gave birth to the child. Tian Ruin looked like the Jiang family. Not to mention others, even the Jiang family thought that the child was the Tian family's child. They had long forgotten about this early romantic affair. Moreover, she did not know that the Supreme Demonic Code actually had the ability to recognize relatives by blood. Otherwise, even if they tried their best, they would stop Tian Ruin from participating in the selection. Tian Yuan, who was also the husband of the Jiang family, was so angry that his eyes were red. He immediately drew his sword and was about to kill the Jiang family. Although everyone despised the Jiang family's behavior, they could not let Tian Yuan kill her just like that. They quickly tried to dissuade him. Tian Ruin was as stunned as a wooden sculpture. His previous arrogance had become a joke at this moment. Tian Keela's old face was also a little embarrassed. He immediately ordered people to escort Tian Ruin and the Jiang family back to the 4th room. They would deal with them after the first round of selection. Tian Shefeng announced that the selection would continue. Tian Ruliang, who was standing behind Tian Ruin, took a deep breath and walked into the ancestral hall. Tian Ruliang was a direct descendant of the Tian family and his performance had always been good. Therefore, the anticipation in the eyes of the first elder and the others became a little stronger. After Tian Ruyang walked into the ancestral hall, he knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times before dripping blood on the statue. The shadow of a black book slowly appeared on the statue. Although it was relatively faint, it was enough for Tian Ruyang to be excited. No matter what, at least he had passed the first round of selection. Next, everyone entered the ancestral hall to participate in the selection. The younger they were, the greater the possibility of passing. Next, there were 16 people who passed the selection. At this time, it was Tian Rulu's turn. Although Tian Rulu was very confident that she would pass the first round of selection, she was still a little nervous. It was only when she saw that the illusory figure that appeared was much clearer than the others that she heaved a sigh of relief. The surrounding members of the Tian family discussed animatedly. They were all praising Tian Rulu's extraordinary talent. She might even be able to successfully obtain the recognition of the Supreme Demonic Canon, and obtain the qualifications to practice the outer 8 chapters, or even the inner 8 chapters. Tian Rulu suppressed the joy in her heart and walked out of the ancestral hall in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. She stood in the line that was qualified to pass the test. Compared to the joy on old lady Tian's face, Tian Shifeng's expression did not change much. Even though she had good talent, she was stupid and bad-tempered. She was too embarrassing to be of great use. He Xinjiu saw that there were fewer and fewer people. She was burning with anxiety. Although she could be a demon in the Tian family previously, there was a prerequisite that she was a member of the Tian family. If she lost her identity, her life would definitely be over. What should she do? Chapter 6135 was doomed. Although Yunchuzhou wished that time could be slower, it was still her turn. The guy took small steps and slowly walked into the ancestral hall. The great elder snorted. "Stop dawdling and go in now." He Xinjiu looked at the great elder pitifully. "Great elder, I also wanted to participate in the selection on impulse, but I regretted it after I calmed down. I don't have any demonic chi. The Supreme Demonic Codex won't choose me at all. I don't think I should waste any more time. I'll give up voluntarily." The great elder's tone became more and more impatient. "How can the selection be a child's play? Since you've already signed up to participate, you must drip your blood. Don't waste any more time. Go in now." He Xinjiu entered the ancestral hall with tears flowing down her cheeks. After kneeling down, he didn't kowtow immediately. Instead, he mumbled in a low voice, "Demonic Codex, I don't think you know me. I'm Tian Ruhua, and my background is too miserable. It all started when my father and my mother met. The people outside were so angry that their noses were almost crooked. Is this Tian Ruhua sick? If she didn't drip her blood, what was she talking about? Could it be that the Supreme Demonic Codex would turn into an illusion just because she was pitiful?" However, she had already entered the ancestral hall. Even the great elder didn't dare to interrupt the selection process. They could only grit their teeth and listen to He Xinjiu's chattering. He Xinjiu was also suffering. The reason why she was dawdling here was that she wanted to use this period of time to think of a way to resolve the crisis. However, she had a headache and couldn't think of a good idea. If she didn't want to be exposed, she had to have the blood of the Tian family. Where could she get it? The guy cursed in his heart. This damned Supreme Demonic Code was just a dog trying to meddle in other people's business. If you want to choose a person, just choose a person. Why do you have to do the blood identification? An hour passed, but He Xinjiu was still mumbling, "Demonic Code, let me tell you. 2 days ago, a big pheasant flew into my yard. It was so fat. It's a pity that it's just a phantom. Otherwise, we could have captured it and roasted it." At this moment, someone exclaimed, "Kai Wan! Kai Wan!" The Tian family looked up and saw a Kai Wan flying toward them at an astonishing speed. When they got closer, they realized that this Kai Wan was just an illusion. Moreover, it seemed to be the same one that had appeared in Yunchuji's yard. Why did this Kai Wan suddenly appear? He Xinjiu heard the commotion outside, so she stopped and turned her head to look. Before she could see clearly, the Kaiwan turned into a black flame and flew into the ancestral hall, rushing straight towards Hei Shinjo. Hei Shinjo was startled. She hid behind the statue of the Supreme Devil Code, with a whoosh, narrowly avoiding the black flame. She did avoid it, but the ancestral tablets of the Tian family didn't. The black flame burned the ancestral tablets of the Tian family at the front into ashes. Hei Shinjo was dumbfounded. There were only 3 big words in her mind: it was over. The crowd outside was dead silent at first, and then they exploded. Hei Shinjo immediately became the target of public criticism. Among them, old Mrs. Tian's curses were the sharpest. "You're a jinx, you're a jinx. As long as you're here, nothing good will come of you. You clearly don't have demonic chi, so why did you come to participate in the selection? Are you trying to make things difficult for Rulu again? I should have killed you a few days ago, you evil creature, so that I wouldn't be in trouble today." Chapter 6136, Great Luck. Tian Ruhua lowered her head and hid the gloating expression on her face. This Tian Ruhua was really courting death. Although the spirit tablet was burned by Kai Luan, it was still related to her. Even if she wasn't beaten to death, she would still be sent to mine magic crystals. When that time came, she would suffer a fate worse than death. Tian Shefeng frowned. He originally thought that this Ruhua girl still had some tricks up her sleeve, but now it seemed that they were just some superficial tricks. If she had dripped her blood step by step, she might not have been chosen, but she would not have caused such a disaster. The 3 grand elders' faces were ashen. It was not a big deal for the Tian family to keep a good-for-nothing, but she had caused the destruction of the ancestral spirit tablet. This was an unpardonable crime. Just as the grand elders were about to ask someone to take Yunchujo away, they heard Yunchujo say happily, 3 grand elders, grandfather, and clansmen, this is a good omen. Our Tian family will be more prosperous from now on. This is really something to celebrate. Everyone was so angry that their noses almost went crooked. Was this Tian Ruhua crazy? What nonsense was she talking about? Old Lady Tian said sarcastically, "Congratulations. You burned your ancestors' ranking and you even made contributions. What nonsense." Yun Chujo ignored her and said to the 3 supreme elders, "Everyone knows that Kailuan is auspicious, and our Tian family has been visited by Kailuan twice. This is enough to prove that our Tian family is a blessed land. As for the spirit tablet being burned, it is even better. Being chosen by Kailuan means that those ancestors are outstanding and extraordinary. It is the glory of our Tian family. Furthermore, the fire is burning with good luck. This means that our Tian family will prosper day by day and be even better than before. This is truly an auspicious sign." Everyone was dumbfounded. What did he mean by lying through his teeth? This was it. What blessed land! What glory! What auspicious sign! It was clearly a fire. Old Lady Tian sneered, "Nonsense. There is no auspicious sign, shut up. If you continue to be noisy, get out." The great elder shouted sternly. Old Lady Tian was so frightened that she trembled and immediately did not dare to make a sound like an old quail. The great elder narrowed his eyes and glanced at Yun Chujo, who was in the ancestral hall. The little girl is right. It's our honor to be chosen by Kailuan. This is a good omen. The great elder had just weighed the pros and cons in an instant. The life and death of a good-for-nothing did not matter. However, if it was spread out, it would be detrimental to the Tian family's reputation. It was better to take advantage of the situation and admit that this was a good omen. As for this culprit, he would find an excuse to deal with her after the selection. Tian Shefeng immediately echoed, "The great elder is right. The fact that Kailuan was able to visit us on the day of the selection is enough to show that the devil god has taken care of our Tian family. This is a joyous occasion." Everyone immediately reacted and changed their tone. They all agreed with him. Their posture was as if they wished that the spirit tablets in the ancestral hall would be burned by Kailuan. Tianrulu was both angry and resentful. She didn't expect such a big disaster to be resolved by that trash in just a few words. Were the great elder and the others stupid? Hei Xinjiu heaved a sigh of relief. Although she knew that this matter was not over yet and that she would have to settle the score later, she had escaped the disaster temporarily. Just as she was thinking, the great elder shouted coldly, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and drip your blood. There are still people waiting behind." Yun Chujiu. Chapter 6137, The Statue's Crack. Yun Chujiu gritted her teeth. It seemed that she could not avoid it, so she could only bite the bullet and drip blood. She thought to herself, if she really could not, she could use her identity as a mixed demon to talk. Anyway, according to Qing Mama, she was the only mixed demon in the Tian family so far, so she could do whatever she wanted. If she still could not escape, she could only hide in the Great Void Mystic Realm to save her life. Hence, this fellow kneeled in front of the statue and kowtowed 3 times. He bit his right index finger and dripped blood on the statue. There was no reaction at all. However, there were no other abnormalities. Hei Xinjiu heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that the Supreme Demonic Code was not very sensitive. Otherwise, she would not have been unable to recognize this impostor. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. Ka! A crack actually appeared at the spot where Yunchuji's blood was dripping, and it quickly spread to the entire statue. Hei Xinjiu, damn God, he was afraid that she would not die. The people of the Tian family hated her for burning those spirit tokens. Now that the statue had cracked, did she still have a way to live? The great elder and the others were also dumbfounded. This statue had existed in the Tian family for tens of thousands of years. How could it suddenly crack? Everyone wanted to go forward to check, but the selection was not over yet. No one could disturb them. They could only watch the statue's changes with worry. The great elder was so regretful that her intestines turned green. If she had known this would happen, she would not have let that trash bleed. It must be because the Supreme Demonic Canon felt that she had been tainted by the trash's blood. This trash had caused so much trouble in just a short while. He could not be left alive. He had to kill her. A hint of killing intent flashed in the great elder's eyes. He decided to execute Yun Chujiu secretly after the selection. At this moment, the cracks stopped spreading. The illusory image of the Supreme Demonic Codex appeared above the statue. The illusory image was very clear. It was several times clearer than the illusory image that Tianrulu had summoned. If not for the halo around it, people would even mistake it for the real Supreme Demonic Codex. Hei Xinjiu, everyone, Hei Xinjiu held back the urge to laugh 3 times. She didn't expect that she would pass the first round of selection. It seemed that the Supreme Demonic Codex didn't have good eyesight. Otherwise, how could she not recognize an impostor like her? The impostor stood up, swaggered out of the ancestral hall, and stood in the line that had passed the selection. The 3 grand elders looked at each other. For a moment, they did not know whether they should pursue the matter of the cracks in the statue or be pleasantly surprised that the Tian family had produced a talented junior. However, wasn't Tianruhua unable to cultivate demonic qi? How could it be that she was extremely talented? Could it be that there was a mistake in the Supreme Demonic Canon? The other members of the Tian family had the same thoughts, especially Tianrulu, who bit her lips tightly. Her eyes were filled with jealousy and hatred. Impossible! How could a good-for-nothing like Tianruhua make the Supreme Demonic Codex appear illusory and clearer than the one she summoned? There were still a few people behind Yun Chujiu who did not drip blood. The great elder signaled for the selection to continue. Although cracks appeared on the statue of the Supreme Demonic Codex, it did not seem to affect anything. The selection of the next few people went smoothly and nothing unusual happened. In the end, a total of 19 people passed the first round of selection. Hei Xinjiu was among them. The great elder and the others had already reached a consensus. If this trash was finally qualified to cultivate the outer 8 volumes, then the past would be forgiven. If she was not qualified to cultivate the outer 8 volumes, then she would be punished for several crimes and be dealt with quietly. Chapter 6138. Go to the corner. Although Yunchujo did not know their decision, she could guess a thing or two. It seemed that it was not possible to be a bystander. She had to think of a way to get the qualification to cultivate the other 8 chapters. The method of the second round of selection was different from the first round. All the people who passed the first round of selection followed Tian Shefeng and the 3 supreme elders to the underground cultivation room of the Tian family. Tian Shefeng glanced at everyone and said, "From today onwards, all of you will follow the 3 grand elders to learn the rudiments of the supreme demonic canon. The second round of selection will be held in a month's time. The phantom that successfully used the demonic chi to make half a page's content appear on the statue of the supreme demonic canon will be qualified to cultivate the outer 8 volumes. The phantom that appears on the entire page will be qualified to cultivate the inner 8 volumes." After Tian Shefeng finished speaking, he bowed to the 3 supreme elders and took his leave. After he left, the first elder said to the other 2 elders, "As usual, we will train in groups and take turns to pick people." The other 2 elders nodded and agreed. The 3 of them began to pick the juniors that they liked. The first elder pointed at Tian Rulu. "Come here." Tian Rulu was delighted. The first elder had chosen her first, which meant that he had high hopes for her. How could he not be happy? The second elder pointed at Tian Ruliang and said, "Come to my side." The third elder nodded deeply to Tian Ruliang, indicating for him to come to his side. The selection process was very fast. In a short while, 6 people stood behind each elder. Only the pitiful Hei Shinjo was left in the original venue. No one had chosen her. Obviously, none of the 3 grand elders wanted this useless and troublesome Tian Ruhua. After a moment of dead silence, the second elder said with a smile, "Big brother, you were the first one to choose, so this Tian Ruhua belongs to you." The third elder echoed, "Yes, big brother. Even if it's in order, it's your turn to choose after I'm done. This Tian Ruhua should be taught by you." The first elder had a gloomy face, so he had no choice but to take Hei Shinjo to his side. Tian Ruli's eyes flashed with a hint of schadenfreude. The great elder obviously did not like Tian Ruhua. When the time came, she could use a little trick to make the great elder loathe her even more. He might even directly dispose of this trash. The underground cultivation room was quite large. The 3 grand elders each occupied an area and began to teach. These juniors of the Tian family all had cultivation bases, so it was not too difficult for them to learn the rudiments of the sup. What was difficult was how to increase the intensity of the demonic chi attack in a short period of time. After everyone had learned the rudiments of the demonic chi, they repeatedly waved their palms at the mannequin in front of them. It was said that only one palm could pierce through the mannequin before it could reveal half a page of the supreme demonic code. Compared to the ease of the second elder and the third elder, the first elder was so angry that he was about to explode. There was no other reason. Who asked his team to have a useless person who was a burden? Yun Chujo did not have a single bit of demonic chi cultivation. She could not even learn the rudiments of the supreme demonic scripture, let alone pierce through the mannequin. At the beginning, the great elder even patiently taught her a few things. However, this person could not even feel the demonic elements in the air. The great elder was so angry that he wished he could cut open this person's head to see if it was filled with straw. In the end, the great elder simply ignored her and said with disgust, "Go to the corner and practice by yourself. Don't be an eyesore here." Hei Shinjo pursed her lips and shrank into the corner pitifully. Chapter 6139, Offering Resources _1 In the Dan God's secret realm, Lin Yi didn't immediately have Pill Immortal Master commence the teleportation. Instead, he stayed a bit longer in the secret realm and controlled the timing to be within a seemingly reasonable range, so it wouldn't be too outrageous. Soon enough, Zhang Dao Xian leveraged the secret realm array method to teleport them to a wilderness still some distance away from the Tsanghua sect. Upon arriving, Lin Yi used his powerful divine sense and his eye of emptiness to scan and observe his surroundings. The Eye of Emptiness had the remarkable ability to pierce through even the spatial channels formed during ascent. Therefore, no matter how powerful they were, as long as they were hidden nearby, he could discover their traces using the Eye of Emptiness. At the same time, before he morphed into the undefeated form and initiated the rescue mission, he had already activated his Predict Crisis title. Everything was calm, and there was no danger whatsoever. With the powerful abilities of 3 nascent soul cultivators and the effects of his title, even if someone from the upper realm descended, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. A few grim old women carefully hoisted the sedan, slowly heading towards Tsanghua sect. There were cultivators along the way who noticed the sedan. Upon detecting the powerful aura of nascent soul level, they only dared to glance from a distance, not daring to get close with their divine sense. After a while, the sedan arrived at the entrance of the Tsanghua sect. Lin Yi sensed peace and tranquility within the sect, but its array had been activated, unleashing all its might. All the golden core real persons had gathered on top of a mountain within the gate. It seemed that the Tsanghua sect had just received the message. Even in the cultivation world, the propagation of news required time. Although he had stayed for a while in Lu Yun's sect after dealing with Lord Xian Ming, teleportation through the secret realm enabled him to reach Tsanghua sect in an extremely short span of time. At this point, even the fastest news transmission method would have just reached here. Of course, there was one news delivery method faster than nascent soul true lord's speed, that is, divine soul sensing. If a soul mark was left within a sect and a soul lamp was ignited, once the person died, the soul lamp in the sect would quickly extinguish, without much delay. True monarch of Danyang's death should have already been known to the golden core real persons of Medicine God Valley through the soul lamps within the sect. This news couldn't be concealed, so Medicine God Valley must be filled with grief now. However, at this time, whether they were from the path of good or evil, everyone was on edge, and it was essentially impossible for anyone to lay hands on the Medicine God Valley. Furthermore, Lord Lin Shao of Sky Sword Sect fought shoulder to shoulder with true monarch of Danyang of Medicine God Valley and ultimately fell due to a surprise attack. Lord Lin Shao was even forced to retreat by a mysterious figure. With his fury having no place to vent, if anyone dared to mess with Medicine God Valley at this time, they'd be lighting a fuse to the powder keg. In front of the entrance to the Tsanghua sect, Lin Yi halted the sedan and said lightly, "We're here. It seems that Elder Star Plucker hasn't returned yet, let's wait here for a moment." The life force in Elder Star Plucker was slowly fading away. With his cultivation at the mid-level of nascent soul, it was impossible for him to completely suppress his decaying spiritual power. Therefore, with his life force gradually failing, it was utterly impossible for him to use his full strength to control the sword. Many disciples of Tsanghua sect were unaware that their nascent soul ancestor was injured. They curiously looked at the red sedan floating in the sky. However, on top of the main peak, Tsanghua Peak, several golden core real persons who had gathered there lost their composure upon seeing the red sedan. According to the information transmitted back by Elder Star Plucker, this mysterious red-clothed sect master was extremely terrifying. With a casual move, he had severely injured 2 nascent soul true lords. Their elder was also heavily injured and was rushing back with all his might, not knowing whether he could survive. They never expected this red-clothed sect master to arrive so quickly, far surpassing the speed of ordinary nascent soul great perfection. Now standing before the gate of their mountain, they had no way to escape even if they wanted to. Lin Yi, with the strong divine sense of 3 nascent souls, penetrated the sect's protective array to hear some of their conversations. One of the golden core real persons sneered, I disagreed with the ancestors' decision to meddle in the matter between Lu Yun's sect and the heretic sections. Some of you insisted there were no risks, and the Lu Yun sect was already a fish on the chopping block. Even if Lord Lin Shao had come, it would not have made a difference. But now, look, our ancestor is severely injured and might not even survive the journey back. And this terrifying red-clothed sect master has arrived so quickly at Tsanghua sect, blocking our mountain gate. We can only wait here for our death. What nonsense are you spouting? Our ancestors' actions were just taken with us being notified and not consulted. We had no rights to make the final decision. If we jointly opposed the ancestor's scheme, he certainly would have considered carefully, but you people, for personal benefits, were just recklessly and, enough, stop arguing. What's the use of discussing this now? We should wait for our ancestor's return. If the ancestor falls, we would need to fend for ourselves. Right at that moment, Lin Yi saw several sound transmission talismans flying over. He chuckled and did not halt them. Probably, it was the most recent news being transmitted. As expected, these sound transmission talismans basically went towards Changhua Peak. Those golden core real persons looked ashen after perusing the sound transmission talismans. These sound transmission talismans described the situation after Elder Star Plucker left. The red-clothed sect master hovering in the sky above their sect had killed Xian Yin sect's Lord Xian Ming. All other nascent soul true lords who were present had fled at once. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.